On Global TV News Express, President Tinubu swears in Amupiton as new INEC chairman. In business, federal government to invest $220 million in youth employment initiative. On the foreign scene, United States sanctions Russian oils after failed Putin talks. And in sports, Falcons brace for win against Benin Republic to seal 2026 Women's AFCON race. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and on StarTimes, channel 276. And now, the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Professor Josh Amupiton as new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) at the State House in Abuja. The ceremony follows the Senate's confirmation of Amupiton's appointment after rigorous screening session on October 16. President Tinubu charged the new INEC boss to safeguard the integrity of Nigeria's elections and strengthen the Commission's institutional capacity. In the meantime, as the discussions on the Electoral Amendment Act move to Lagos State, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has said the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) must ensure the future elections in Nigeria are devoid of controversies. Akpabio gave the hint in a remark after a debate on the repeal and reenactment of the Election Act during plenary. Our correspondent, Topsy Gimba, reports.
Speaking in support of the Senate President's stance, Senator Siriachi Dixon insisted that the burden of proof that our election was credible should be placed on INEC and not on the political parties and their candidates.
Our political parties are the biggest challenge to our democracy. We have to look for a way by which we can introduce some regulation and control.
On his part, Senator Adams Oshiomhole stressed the need for politicians to stop aiding and abetting young people from carrying out election violence.
We should resolve, each and every one of us, and also collectively, that as elected persons, we as senators shall not, directly or indirectly, secretly or openly, aid and abet unemployed or semi-employed people and arm them to disrupt election.
The lawmakers unanimously agreed that to achieve credible elections, INEC must employ the use of technology in line with global best practices.
To move fast to make sure that all these technologies, as we are voting, people are reporting back. People are having back the results, so that electronic voting, so nobody will complain, because APC will not complain, PDP will not complain, Labour Party will not complain, so everybody will be on equal basis. We are in a haste to pass the Electoral Act, and we shot ourselves in the foot by removing senators, members of the House of Representatives, governors, and the deputy.
To regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory elections and for related matters 2025, second reading taken.
With the second reading now passed, the bill proceeds to the committee stage for further scrutiny. Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News. Speaking in support of the Senate President.
In the meantime, the Senate is set to amend the Federal Road Maintenance Agency Act to secure better funding and improve road maintenance across the country. Again, Topsy Gimba has the details.
The Senate Committee of FEMA highlighted this during the screening of President Bola Tinubu's nominee for chairman of the FEMA Board of Trustees. The committee, led by Senator Sha'abi Alhaji Yawu Zamfara North, expressed concern over the continued poor state of federal roads, attributing the challenge to inadequate funding of FEMA. Senator Yawu lamented that despite FEMA's critical role in maintaining the nation's road infrastructure, lack of sufficient funds has hampered effective operations.
FEMA should be an agency that should be well funded, and we are looking forward at a situation whereby we will make some amendments into the law that created FEMA for us to be able to make it work well and properly.
Responding to lawmakers' questions, Musa Babayo, nominee for FEMA board chairman, vowed to use his extensive public service experience to reform and strengthen the agency's capacity.
For FEMA to succeed, we need that collaboration, especially at the National Assembly level. The Committee on PAMA at both chambers of the National Assembly will continue to engage with other critical stakeholders and other institutions of state, the Ministry of Finance, the ICRC, and other development partners.
Babayo's confirmation could mark a turning point as the Senate works towards amending the FEMA Act to enhance funding mechanisms aiming to deliver safer, more reliable roads for Nigerians. The amendment, once passed, is expected to boost the agency's budget and operational efficiency towards tackling Nigeria's road infrastructure challenges decisively. Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News.
The House of Representatives is taking a hard look at rising insecurity in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, despite a multi-million-dollar CCTV project meant to boost surveillance and safety. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Amobi Oga, Labour Party, Abia State. Anieti Patrick reports.
Lawmakers are demanding answers over the $460 million closed-circuit television project installed across the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, more than a decade ago. The project, financed through a Chinese loan, was designed to monitor crime and improve security. But despite the huge investments, kidnappings and attacks in the capital have continued to rise. The House, following a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Amobi Oga, resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate why the project has not delivered on its purpose.
The House more concerned that despite this huge investment, as well as the financial burden Nigeria is subjected to by way of servicing this loan, the impact of the CCTV is not felt in any manner. Rather than abating, crime rate has soared in Abuja, leading to daily reports of deaths.
In another resolution, the House adopted a motion by Minority Whip Ali Issa calling for investigation into the operations and funding of Nigeria's development finance institutions.
Also note that those institutions were created to bridge financing gaps in key sectors, promote inclusive economic growth, stimulate industrialization, create jobs, and provide affordable credit and financial advisory services to individuals.
Also, lawmakers raised concerns over frequent tanker explosion and gridlock along the Bida, Agay, Lapai, Lambata, Diko Road in Niger State.
Further concern that the continued neglect of this vital highway has resulted in frequent gridlocks, destruction of goods, loss of productive hours, and severe hardship for commuters and residents, while turning the road into a death trap for motorists, tanker drivers, and traders.
The House mandated its committees to investigate and report back within a stipulated time frame. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Lawmakers in the Green Chamber have raised serious concerns over the alleged use of harmful chemicals in the preservation of food across Nigeria. The House has now mandated several committees to conduct a full-scale investigation into the matter. Again, Anieti Patrick reports.
The House of Representatives has mandated its committees on nutrition and food security, NAFDAC, healthcare services, safety standards and regulations, agriculture, and legislative compliance to investigate the alleged use of toxic preservatives in frozen foods sold across Nigeria. The decision followed a motion moved by Chike Okafor, Imo State, who warned that the chemicals reportedly being used to extend the shelf life of food products could have severe health implications, including cancer and organ damage.
Concerned that alleged use of harmful chemicals in food preservation further exacerbates the challenges.
In another development, the House urged the Federal Road Safety Commission and the Vehicle Inspection Office to address the growing backlog in the issuance of driver's license across the country. This followed a motion by Felix Nwaike, Rivers State, who expressed concern over the inefficiency of the process and the hardship faced by applicants.
Worried that most Nigerians whose licenses have expired are subjected to using temporary driver's license, which lasts for only 3 months and have to pass through the Herculean task of renewing same every other 3 months.
Also at plenary, a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution to clarify taxation powers among the federal, state and local governments passed second reading. Sponsored by Joshua Ghana, Niger State, the bill aims to define the scope of taxes and levies collectible by each tier of government, eliminates multiple taxation, and prevents the unlawful outsourcing of revenue collection.
If this bill is passed, it will reduce intergovernmental conflicts over revenue collection, strengthen fiscal coordination across the 3 tiers of government, and enhance budget predictability.
From public health concerns to reforms in taxation and road safety administration, Wednesday's plenary reflected the House's renewed commitment to accountability and citizens' welfare. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Now let's move away from the National Assembly and tell you that the detained indigenous people of Biafra leader Nnamdi Kanu has told the Federal High Court in Abuja that he will defend himself after his lead counsel, Kanu Agabi, and other senior advocates withdrew from the case. Nnamdi Kanu confirmed in court that he has taken over his legal representation, declining the judge's offer to assign him a new lawyer. Defending himself orally, he argued that the court lacks jurisdiction to try him on the charges filed by the federal government. In a related development, human rights activist and the 2023 AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has been arrested by the police at the Federal High Court in Abuja shortly after showing solidarity with detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. Police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed the arrest, saying Sowore violated a court order banning protest around the 3-arm zone and will be charged in court. His lawyer, Ihibi Efyong, has described the arrest as outrageous, accusing authorities of making mockery of Nigeria's judicial system. Let's head to Kano State, where the government has commenced sensitization for exclusive breastfeeding across the state. The campaign is to educate women on the importance of first 6 months breastfeeding of a newborn baby. Global television correspondent Idris Jibrin was at Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital and now files in this report.
All over the world, health professionals recommend against giving other liquids, including water, to infants younger than 6 months because breast milk provides sufficient hydration and nutrients.
Breastfeeding is like the bedrock of a healthy growth and development. A child that is well breastfed in his infancy tends to do well in his adult life. And many diseases have been established clearly associated with poor feeding practices during infancy and childhood.
But this idea of practice seems very rare in northern Nigeria, hence the need for this sensitization campaign to educate women on the best possible ways to provide all the necessary nutrients and antibodies for healthy development and protect their children against illness like diarrhea, pneumonia and measles.
A lot of research has been done on this particular issue. That is why we now saw the importance of the exclusive breastfeeding. It's easy in the north to administer exclusive breastfeeding. That is just what we want to create awareness, because you see, the woman will be given the breast throughout 6 months without water, without even, she's not going to buy the milk. She can't buy the milk, it's already established in her body.
But there are challenges in embracing this exclusive breastfeeding, especially in conservative society like Kano, where poverty plays an important role among the less privileged.
A lot of cultural misconceptions, harmful cultural practices which people are practicing. So it's only through this kind of program that you dispel these misconceptions and then bring in correct information to the mothers so that they embrace this practice.
At the moment, it is very difficult to point a single woman with full 6 month exclusive. But Kano State government seems to have a solution to this.
Kano State government, under the leadership of Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf, is implementing a social protection which empowers households with some cash inputs.
Deep cultural beliefs among these conservative societies and poverty are believed to be responsible for the failure of women to embrace exclusive breastfeeding, especially in northern Nigeria. From Kano, Idris Juprin, Global Television News.
Let's now head to Niger State, where the federal government has extended condolences to the Niger State people and government following Tuesday's petrol tanker explosion in Isa Kacha local government area of the state, which claimed over 30 lives. Information Minister Mohammed Idris, in a statement, described the tragedy as a painful reminder of the dangers of scooping fuel from fallen tankers despite repeated warnings. He urged Nigerians to prioritize safety and avoid actions that could turn accidents into mass casualties. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Falcons brace to win against Benin Republic to seal 2026 Women's AFCON race. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back from that break. And now to business news, where the federal government says it will invest $220 million to create job opportunities for Nigerian youth through the Nigeria Jubilee Fellowship Program 2.0 in partnership with the European Union and United Nations Development Program. Vice President Kashim Shettima, speaking at the launch in Abuja, said the initiative will bridge the gap between learning and earning by linking graduates to work experience, training, and mentorship. He stressed that youth employment is not just a policy priority, but a shared responsibility among government, private sector, and development partners. Still talking business, oil prices have risen after United States President Donald Trump announced potential curbs on exports to China and fresh sanctions on Russia's top oil producers. The move rattled global markets and reignited trade war fears, with Washington hinting 100% tariff on Chinese goods amidst rare earthy tensions. Analysts warn that escalating rhetorics could disrupt global supply chains even as investors await clarity from Trump's upcoming meeting with China president. In the meantime, President Donald Trump says his discussion with Russian President Vladimir Putin has not yielded results, even as he announces new sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies. The move signals a tougher stance by Washington as tensions rise over the ongoing war in Ukraine. Our correspondent, Zara Unasir, reports.
According to the White House, the sanctions are designated to pressure Moscow into agreeing to a peace deal with Kyiv, marking a significant shift from Trump's earlier hesitation to penalize Russia.
Well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that sense, but no, look, he's fighting a war. He's in a war. That's two very competent sides, and that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed the U.S. move, calling it a positive step toward ending the 3-year-old conflict that has claimed thousands of lives. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV News.
And still on the foreign scene, Sudan's Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has vowed to crush the Rapid Support Forces RSF during a visit to Khartoum International Airport. The statement comes amidst continued fighting between government troops and the paramilitary group that has left thousands displaced and ruins in the capital. Our international correspondent, Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reports.
In a video released by the Sudan News Agency, General Al-Burhan appeared on the tarmac of Khartoum's International Airport, a site that has repeatedly come under attack in the country's ongoing power struggle. His visit was seen as a bold message to the Rapid Support Forces as he vowed to crush the paramilitary group and restore control over the capital. Authorities say the visit underscores the Sudanese army's determination to hold key strategic sites despite continued RSF assaults. However, with no ceasefire in sight and humanitarian conditions worsening, fears persist that Sudan's crisis could deepen even further. Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
And now talking sports, the Super Falcons will face the Benin Republic Amazons on Friday at the Stade de Gourgue in Lomé for the first leg of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations final qualifiers, with head coach of the team, Justin Madugu, promising an all-out performance despite the absence of star midfielder Jennifer Echejine. Madugu, who has invited 19 players, is expected to rely on the likes of Rashidat Ajibade, Asisat Oshola, and goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie to secure a strong first leg result before the return fixture in Nigeria on Tuesday. The encounter, officiated by the Gambian referee Ngum Foto, kicks off at 3 p.m. local time, which is 4 p.m. in Nigeria, with the Falcons seeking to defend the title they won in Morocco earlier this year. Still talking sports, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has reaffirmed the committee of the 10th House to advance sports development and strengthen collaboration with Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN, as the association marks its 60th anniversary. Our correspondent, Anita Patrick, brings us details in our subsequent bulletin. Now, as Global TV News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. Earlier in the news, we brought to you that President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Professor Joash Amupiton as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, at the State House in Abuja. In business, the federal government says it will invest $220 million to create jobs for Nigerian youths through the Nigerian Jubilee Fellowship Program. On the foreign scene, we brought to you that United States President Donald Trump says his discussion with Russian President Vladimir Putin has not yielded results, even as he announces new sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies. And in the world of sport, you heard that the Super Falcons will face the Benin Republic Amazons on Friday at the Stade de Gourgue in Lomé for the second leg of the 2026 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. And that's it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using a Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Saying a very big thank you for watching.